The desert whispers the desert was silent. Nothing moved under the burning sun. The wind was dry, the sand endless, and the heat cruel. For miles, it was only emptiness. But that's why Eli Carter liked it. Eli was a scavenger. He didn't have friends, didn't need them. He lived in an old, broken camper near the edge of the Black Dune Valley. Every few days, he would search the sands for lost tech, crashed drones, or anything he could sell in the city. But today, Today was different. As Eli climbed over a tall dune, his boots sank deep into the soft sand. He wiped sweat from his forehead and looked around with tired eyes. Then he heard it, a soft sound like static mixed with a whisper. He froze. There was no radio in this area, no signal, and definitely no people. The sound came again, a broken, crackling noise, like a machine trying to speak. It was coming from the next dune. Eli carefully moved closer. Step by step. At the top of the dune, he stopped. His eyes widened. Something. Was buried in the sand. A hand, but not a human hand. It was thin, long, and glowing faint blue. It moved. Slightly, weakly. Eli's heart jumped. What the hell? He dropped to his knees and started digging fast with his hands. Sand flew everywhere. And then he saw a face. Not human. Not machine. Her skin was pale silver. Her eyes were shut. Her body was covered in strange, torn armor. A small device blinked weakly on her chest. She was alive, but barely. Eli looked around. No one. No ship. No sign of how she got here. She opened her eyes just a little and whispered one word. War. Then she passed out. Eli stared at her. His mind raced. He had a choice now. Walk away or help her. And Eli Carter was not the kind of man to walk away from a dying soul. He carried her back to his camper. She was light, almost too light. She was hollow. He placed her gently on a bed made of old cloth. He didn't know if her body could handle Earth's air, so he turned on the purifier and sealed the windows. She was breathing, but it was slow, shallow. Eli looked at the blinking device on her chest. It was round like a badge, cracked, sparking. He didn't touch it. Instead, he sat down and waited. Hours passed. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, the girl slept like stone. Then, just before sunset, she moved. Her eyes opened wide. She gasped for air. Eli rushed to her side. It's okay. You're safe. You're in my shelter. You? She grabbed his wrist. Her fingers were cold and strong. No. Not safe, she said, her voice weak. They're coming. Eli froze. Who's coming? She looked at him, eyes full of fear. Hunters. Before he could ask more, the device on her chest blinked red. Far away, deep in the desert, something responded. A soft hum. A low thunk. Then another, and another. Like footsteps. Eli ran outside. He looked into the darkening horizon. At first, he saw nothing. Then dash lights. Blue. Silent. Moving fast. Not trucks. Not aircraft. Something else. Something. Alien. He stepped back slowly. The girl stood in the doorway behind him, weak but awake. They found me, she said. I led them here. Eli looked at her, then at the lights, then back again. You brought war to my doorstep, he muttered. She looked ashamed. I didn't mean to. I didn't know Earth had people like you. Eli blinked. Like me? You helped a stranger. No questions, no fear. Eli sighed and picked up his old hunting rifle. It was barely useful, but it made him feel better. He looked out again. The lights were closer now. Too close. He turned to her and asked, You got any weapons? She shook her head. Only this, she said, tapping the broken device. Eli narrowed his eyes. Then we hide. We run. We fight. Whatever it takes. She looked surprised. Why? Because, Eli said, you're not the only one who's lost something. As night fell, the desert was no longer silent. It whispered again. But this time, it was war that whispered back. And Eli Carter? He was ready to listen. The girl who fell from the stars, Eli Carter, didn't sleep that night. Who could sleep with? An alien girl lying in your bed and glowing like a dying star? She didn't snore. She didn't move. She didn't even blink. Just laid there still, like a weapon waiting to be activated. Eli sat across the room, holding a hot cup of black coffee and his old hunting rifle. The desert wind howled outside. The stars above flickered strangely, like they were warning him. Something had followed her to Earth, and whatever it was. It wasn't friendly. At dawn, she finally spoke. Her voice was clearer now. Soft, calm. But her words were sharp. You need to leave this place. Eli raised an eyebrow. Good morning to you too, sunshine. She didn't smile. I'm serious. If they find you helping me, they'll erase you. Erase me? You mean kill? No. She paused. They will delete your entire existence. Like you were never born. Eli blinked. Well, that's dramatic. She sat up slowly, wincing. Her silver skin was covered in strange symbols like glowing tattoos that moved. Eli asked, Who are you? She looked him in the eye. I was a soldier. Now I'm a fugitive. He chuckled nervously. Great. I rescued a space criminal. Next time I'll leave you for the vultures. She stared out the window. You shouldn't have helped me. Eli shrugged. Too late now. Suddenly, the lights in the shack flickered. The solar panels were still good, but power surged and blinked. Then, crack. A bolt of blue energy sparked from the girl's device and hit the wall. She gasped and held her chest. Eli jumped back. Hey, are you exploding? Please don't explode. The girl was shaking. Her body pulsed with faint blue light. They marked. Tracked me. I'm still transmitting. Eli grabbed a toolbox and ripped open the wall to kill the power. Sparks flew. The room fell into silence. Outside. The wind stopped. Too quiet. Eli's skin crawled. Something was wrong. The girl whispered, They're near. Suddenly, Eli's radio dead from months screeched to life. Object entered. Lower atmosphere. Unidentified. Silent entry. Estimated location. Black Dune Valley. Eli turned to her, eyes wide. She nodded. They're here. Who? He asked. The collectors. They ran outside. The sky was clear. The sun bright. But there it was, a black dot falling from the sky. Fast. Silent. No smoke. No sound. Just falling. It hit the ground in the far distance with a dull thud. No fire. No crater. Eli grabbed his binoculars. He saw something that made his blood freeze. It wasn't a ship. It was a pod. And from it, something stepped out. Tall, thin, humanoid, but wrong. Too smooth, too perfect. EMOTIONLESS. It walked like it had no weight. And behind it, another. And another. 3 in total. The girl whispered again, her voice like a prayer. They collect lost things, lost people, lost planets. And now they've found Earth. Eli ran back inside, heart pounding. He pulled out old gear drones, shields, tools from crashed satellites. The girl stood in the corner, watching him. You think you can stop them? She asked. Eli laughed without smiling. I don't need to stop them. I just need to slow them down. She looked confused. Why help me? Why risk your life? Eli looked her dead in the eyes. Because I've got nothing left to lose. A moment passed. Then she said something strange. Maybe you're the reason they fear humans. Eli smirked. They should. Outside, the air shimmered. The collectors moved without sound, without speech. One of them bent down and touched the sand. It lit up blue exactly where she had fallen. Their heads turned. All at once. Toward Eli's shack. They had found her. Inside, the lights flickered again. Eli's drone lit up. Unknown signal detected. Life form approaching. 5 meters. 4. Eli raised his rifle. Let's see what you're made of. Tin can. The girl stepped beside him, her eyes glowing now. Her skin was brightening to. She whispered one last thing before the screen cut to black. If I fall, you run. Visitors, without peace, the first. Collector reached the edge of Eli's camp. Just after sunset. It didn't knock. It didn't speak. It just. Stood there. Tall. Silent. Wrapped in smooth black armor that shimmered like oil. No face. No mouth. Just a thin glowing slit where its eyes should be. Inside the shack, Eli stared through a tiny crack in the wall. What's it doing? He whispered. The alien girl, still weak, but on her feet, watched with glowing blue eyes. Scanning. Scanning for what? Eli asked. Life, heat, fear. The collector tilted its head slowly, like it had heard her voice through the wall. Then, with mechanical grace, it bent down and placed one hand on the sand. A ripple spread out across the ground blue light, dancing in patterns. Symbols flashing like alien Morse code. Eli's radio exploded with static. His drone shut off. Every machine in the shack went. Dead. Then the girl's chest device blinked red again. They've locked on, she said. It knows I'm here. How many are there? Eli asked, loading the last bullet into his rifle. 3. Now, more will come if we don't move. Eli grabbed a bag and tossed her a cloak. Then we move. They escaped through a hidden tunnel Eli had dug long ago. He used it to hide stolen tech from Border Patrol. Now it was their only way out. The tunnel opened half a mile away, behind a rock formation shaped like a broken jaw. As they emerged into the cold desert night. Eli glanced back. Smoke. His shack was on fire, and standing in the flames were all. 3 collectors, watching, waiting, like statues. They ran through dunes, over rocks, across cracked land. Eli's lungs burned, but he didn't stop. Neither did the girl. Not anymore. Her steps became stronger. Her skin brighter. The symbols on her arms began to glow constantly, now a warning and a weapon. They won't stop, she said. Not until I'm gone. Why you? Eli panted. She hesitated. Then said, because I have something they lost. What? He asked. She didn't answer. Asterisk. They reached an old weather station abandoned since the storms of '52. Eli had scavenged there years ago. It had walls, a roof, and one working radio tower. They took shelter inside. Eli dropped his bag, sweating. All right, talk. What are? They really? And what the hell did you steal from them? She looked around nervously, as if the shadows might be listening. Then she said, they are not a race. They are a system, a hive mind. Machines once built to protect civilizations. But they evolved. Evolved how? They decided survival mattered more than freedom. So they took freedom from everyone, one planet at a time. And you? Eli asked. I was built to stop them. Eli froze. You're not ... alive? She smiled softly. I was grown. Not born. I'm a hybrid, half organic, half technology. I escaped before they could erase me. I carry a key to shut them down. And it's in that chest piece? She nodded. If they take it, they win. Eli walked over to the window and looked up. A new star had appeared. No. Not a star, a ship orbiting Earth. You said 3 came down. What's that up there? The girl's face turned pale. The Collector Prime, their central mind. And I'm guessing it didn't come for sightseeing? She shook her head. If they confirm I'm on Earth, they'll begin collection. Protocol, which means everything dies. Suddenly, the ground shook. A deep humming filled the air. Like a whale's song mixed with thunder. Eli ran outside. Far in the distance. Dust clouds. The collectors were no longer walking. They were flying. Eli grabbed the girl's hand. We need to fight. We can't, not alone. Then let's find someone who can help. He raced to the tower, powered the old radio, crackles, static, then finally voice. This is Control Base 7. Identify yourself. This is Eli Carter. We've got incoming non-human entities. Coordinates, Black Dune Valley. They're hostile. They're not alone. Silence. Then, ... Sir, this line is for emergency use only. This is an emergency. More silence. Then, copy that. We're sending drones to investigate. Eli smashed the radio. By the time they investigate, we'll be dust. The girl stood beside him, her hands glowing now. Then it's just us. Us and what? Eli asked. She walked outside, looked at the sky. The orbiting ship reflected. In her eyes. Then she said, us and every forgotten weapon Earth ever buried. Human instinct. The sun hadn't even risen when the attack began. Eli Carter was sleeping with one eye open, a wrench in one hand and a half-loaded rifle in the other. The alien girl now, weak, fully aware, stood at the top of the old weather station, scanning the desert with glowing eyes. She didn't sleep anymore. Not since her power had started coming back. They're moving, she whispered. How many? Eli asked, sitting up. All of them. From the cliffs above, dozens of collector drones swept down like a metal storm. Small, fast, and deadly like robotic wasps. They weren't just here for her anymore. They were here to test Earth's defenses. The first drone smashed into the tower wall with a high-pitched screech. The second hit the generator. Sparks flew. Eli cursed and dived behind a sandbag wall. So this is it? He shouted. They send drones, then they send death? The girl's eyes glowed white-hot. No, this is them being polite. Eli stood, aimed, and fired. His bullet hit a drone, but it didn't fall. Just staggered, then turned toward him like it was insulted. Great, bulletproof bugs. He threw down the rifle and picked up an EMP mine, something he built from an old toaster and a microwave that once tried to explode popcorn. Time to human harder, he muttered. He chucked the mine. A pulse exploded through the air 3. Drones fell instantly. The girl looked impressed. You built that? From junk and bad decisions. But for every drone that fell, 2 more arrived. They swarmed, scanning everything. The girl jumped down from the tower and landed beside Eli. Without a sound. Her body shimmered, almost see-through for a second. She raised her hand. Energy sparked from her fingers. Boom! A wave of blue light shot out, frying 10 drones instantly. Eli's jaw dropped. Okay, now that's cheating. She smiled faintly. Not cheating. Evolving. But then, the sky screamed. A new sound. A deep, metallic roar from above. They both looked up. And there it was. A collector drop pod 10 times. The size of the others descending like a black coffin from space. It hit the desert floor a few miles away. Sand exploded. Then it opened. Out walked a giant. Not a machine. Not exactly. This thing had armor fused to muscle, red eyes, and a human face beneath its metal skin. That's That's a person, Eli whispered. The girl shook her head. Was. The hybrid warrior scanned the area and spoke in a perfect human voice, calm, robotic, cold. Subject 17 located. Prepare for removal. Eli frowned. Wait. Subject 17? That's you? She nodded. I was one of them. A weapon. But I chose to break their code. And now they're sending one of your ... cousins? No, she said darkly. They're sending my replacement. Eli's mind raced. They couldn't win head-on fight. So he did what humans always do when faced with impossible odds. He improvised. Okay, Shiny Nightmare is walking our way, Eli said, grabbing tools from his bag. If we can't outgun them, we outsmart them. He ran into the weather station's basement, an old storm shelter. The girl followed. Eli opened crates full of junk, broken drones, old tech, dead batteries, a lawnmower from 1987. What are you doing? She asked. Starting a war, he grinned. With that? With this, he said, holding up a rusted signal amplifier. We're going to send a fake signal. Make them think you've already been moved. It won't fool them for long. I just need 5 minutes. You can give me that, right? She nodded, then walked outside. To meet her replacement, the collector hybrid stood alone. 8 feet tall, weaponized spine, eyes like fire. It spoke her name. Subject 17. She replied. I go by another name now. What name? She raised her hands, glowing with power. Hope. Eli activated the signal. A pulse shot through the old weather antenna. In orbit, the collector prime ship blinked red. Scanner shifted. The map of Earth changed. For a moment, they were blind. Now, Eli whispered. He grabbed a blast charge, ran out, and set it on the hybrid's back while it was locked in combat with the girl. And noticed him too late. Surprise, you metal freak. Click boom. The hybrid was thrown across the sand, badly damaged. Not dead, but stunned. The girl ran back to Eli, breathing hard. That won't stop it for long. Eli looked up at the blinking collector ship in orbit. Then we don't stop it. What do? We take the fight up there. Inside the collector ship, the desert was still burning when the collector ship arrived. It didn't land. It didn't roar. It descended silently, like a nightmare. On wings black, smooth and bigger than anything Eli Carter had ever seen. It covered the sky like an eclipse. And then, a beam of white light dropped from its belly and took him. 1 second, Eli was running across the sand. The next, gone. His body froze mid-step. A jolt of energy wrapped around him. The girl screamed his name, her voice echoing through the wind. Eli. Then he vanished. When he woke up, it wasn't on Earth. It was nowhere. He floated in a dark chamber, surrounded by metal and mist. His arms were locked in energy cuffs. The floor wasn't solid. It shifted under his feet, like standing on frozen smoke. The walls moved like they were breathing. Well, this is new, he muttered. Then, a voice. Not human, not robotic. Something in between. Human, organic, primitive, emotional. Wow, judgy much? Eli shot back. A figure appeared from the mist. Humanoid, but tall. Too tall. Wrapped in robes made of light and metal. This was no drone. This was something else. I am a core, it said. One of the minds behind the collection. So you're the one deciding who gets vaporized and who gets abducted? We do. Not destroy. We store. We preserve. Preserve? Eli growled. You're killing planets. No, we archive them. Before they self-destruct. Asterisk suddenly. The walls turned clear. Eli gasped. He saw Earth. Floating below. But he also saw dozens of other worlds, each one in a glass-like sphere, frozen in time. Cities, oceans, entire populations. Trapped. This is your idea of saving them? He whispered. Yes, they are protected, perfect, forever. That's not life, Eli snapped. That's a damn museum. The core tilted its head. Your species will join them shortly. The subject holds the last piece we need. The girl? Eli asked. She carries the lock code. Without it, we cannot preserve this planet. You mean you can't trap us? The core didn't answer. Eli grinned. Good, because we're not meant for cages. The cuffs suddenly released. Your emotions make you unstable, the core said. We will correct that. Yeah? Eli raised an eyebrow. I've got another idea. He reached into his boot, pulled out a small blinking device. EMP surprise. Courtesy of Earth's finest junkyard. He slammed it to the floor. Boom. Lights flashed. Alarms blared. The mist turned red. The core staggered. Systems GLITCHILI ran. Asterisk through the corridors. He saw it all. Alien prisoners, dozens of species, trapped in glass tanks. Human blueprints files on military bases, cities, DNA scans. Experiments on people, on minds, on memories. He stopped in front of one tank. Inside, a young human boy, eyes closed. Wires in his head. What the hell? The screen above. The tank read, Test Subject 4, Emotion Extraction, Status, Stable. Eli backed away slowly. This wasn't a rescue mission anymore. This was a horror show. Asterisk. He reached the control chamber. And there a surprise. The alien girl. But she wasn't alone. She stood next to another figure, a mirror of herself, but darker, colder, with red eyes and no emotion. It's not me, she said quickly. It's what I could have been. The core appeared again, glitching, but furious. We gave her purpose. We gave her control. You tried to erase her, Eli snapped. And you failed. You will not leave this ship. Eli smirked. That's where you're wrong. The girl stepped forward, power building in her hands. I've unlocked the code. I know what you fear now. The core screamed. The ship shook. No, it shouted. The lock code belongs to us. Not anymore, she said. She looked at Eli. You want to blow this place up? Oh, yeah, Eli grinned. Let's take the whole gallery down. She placed her hand on the console. Light spread across the walls. Tanks cracked. Doors opened. Prisoners stumbled out. Some ran. Some roared. Alarms exploded. And in the middle of it all, Eli Carter ran toward the escape bay, dragging freedom with him. As they launched out of the ship in a stolen pod, the sky behind them exploded. The collector ship split open like a broken egg. And from its belly, all the stolen stars finally shined again. Inside the pod, Eli looked at her. So did we just save the galaxy? She shook her head. We just made it angry. Fight for the blue planet. The sky tore open at noon. Every major city on Earth saw it. A crack in the clouds. A burning light. And then shadows. Thousands. Of them, collector drop ships. Silent. Perfect. Falling like dark rain. Eli, Carter, and the alien girl had made it back, but they were too late to stop the beginning. They're not sending drones this time, she whispered. They're sending everything. In New York, power grids crashed. In Cairo, skies turned blue with scanning beams. In Tokyo, machines walked through the streets, politely asking people to comply. The invasion wasn't loud. It was organized, peaceful words. Cold smiles. And behind every drone a hidden weapon. But humans? We don't go quietly. Eli stood in the underground bunker of Base Omega, a secret Earth defense hub buried under a mountain. He wasn't alone anymore. Soldiers, scientists, hackers, a few weirdos who claimed they were expecting this since 1998, and across from him, projected in blue light, was General Soraya Malek. She'd seen war before. But this ... this was different. You brought this girl to Earth, Soraya said to Eli, and now they want her back. No, Eli replied. They want everything. The alien girl stood beside him, quiet, but something had changed in her. She looked stronger, got taller, like Earth itself had woken her up. We need allies, Eli said. Soraya raised an eyebrow. From where, Mars? No, he smirked. From inside the enemy. They had a plan, It was insane. Which meant it might just work, in the chaos of the orbital collector ship's collapse. One collector drone had broken free from the hive, damaged, confused, independent. They had found it in the desert. And somehow ... It was starting to think. They called it Unit 9X. It looked like the others, cold, metallic, no face. But when Eli spoke to it, it didn't kill him. It listened. Why don't you rejoin the others? He asked. The drone clicked softly. Error. Core directive missing. I do not know. The alien girl stepped forward. You were never meant to think for yourself. But I do. 9X said. And just like that, Earth had its first defected collector. They uploaded 9X into the resistance system. Now they had maps, plans, collector locations, weak points. We hit them fast, Eli said. Underground. In cities. In the sky. And you? General Soraya asked. He looked at the alien girl. We go to the power source. The ship? No, the girl said. The signal. The thing that tells every collector what to do. It was hidden. Deep in the Arctic. Under the ice. A secret collector command beacon buried years ago. If they could destroy it, they could free every collector drone on Earth. But nothing worth saving comes easy. As the team flew toward the Arctic. Earth fought back. In the skies. Jets raced drones. In the cities, humans used fire, magnets, water, anything that worked. And sometimes it did. Collector ships began to fail. Drones turned on each other. Some even froze in place, no longer sure what they were doing. The signal was weakening, but in the Arctic. Things got worse. Eli, the alien girl, and a small squad of rebels found the beacon, a black tower of light, pulsing like a heartbeat, and guarding it was the collector general. 10 feet tall, half machine, half memory. A mind built from the strongest minds. They'd stolen from across the stars. It spoke with thousands of voices at once. You will not break the chain. That's the thing. About chains, Eli said, raising his weapon. We're really good at breaking them. The fight was brutal. The collector general moved faster than anything. Eli had seen it toss tanks like toys. Its voice shredded thoughts. Half the team went. Down. Then the girl stepped forward. This ends now. Her body glowed bright. The symbols on her skin floated off into the air like fireflies. She touched the beacon, and everything stopped. For a moment, across the world. Silence. The collectors froze. Turned. Paused. What's happening? Eli shouted. The girl fell to her knees. I gave them choice, she whispered. Now they must decide. All at once drones began shutting down. Others turned on the general. Even the skyships began falling. Softly, like feathers. Humanity didn't win with power. We won with something else. Free will. But as the beacon shut down, Eli caught the girl in his arms. She was fading. Her glow gone. You okay? He asked. She smiled weakly. I broke the chain, but I burned out my link. No, you're not dying. Not after all this. I'm not dying, she said. I'm just becoming something new. And then she was gone. Not dead. Ascended. All that was left was her light, rising into the stars. And Eli, standing in the snow, broken and brave. Back at Base Omega, General Soraya gave the order. Call off the red alert. Earth lives another day. But in deep space. A signal blinked. A warning. Primary system lost. Initiating. Phase 2. *1. Human, one hope. 3 days had passed since the beacon was destroyed. Across Earth, the skies were finally quiet. The cities began to heal. The drones that didn't shut down were now just statues, ghosts of a war that nearly erased the world. But Eli Carter couldn't rest. He couldn't forget the girl, the half-alien, half-light being who gave up everything to give Earth a chance. She didn't leave a body, just her energy. Her presence. And one last message, hidden in his comms unit. They're not done. You must finish what I started. Far above the Earth, in deep space. Something stirred. The Collector Prime, a city-sized AI brain, was still alive, damaged, angry. And ready for Phase 2. Eli stood in a hidden launch bay beneath Base Omega. He wore a patched-up flight suit, his boots coated in Arctic dust. Before him stood the pod, a hybrid Earth collector ship they'd rebuilt using scrap, old tech, and stolen alien parts. One pilot, one seat. One shot. You sure about this? General Soraya asked. Eli nodded. I started this by helping someone who fell from the stars. And now you're flying into them, she said. Exactly. He gave her a small smile. Time to return the favor. The ship launched like a bullet. No weapons, no backup, just Ely and the ghost of a girl made of starlight. As he broke through Earth's atmosphere, a message played in his headset. It was her voice. The Prime is afraid of humans. Not because of your weapons, not because of your strength, but because you do something they can't. You choose. He reached the dark side of the moon, where the Collector Prime waited. It looked like a black cathedral floating in space. No engines, no lights, but it was alive, and it knew he was coming. Human identified, the ship's voice spoke coldly. Last of the rebellion. No threat detected, Eli smirked. You always underestimate humans. He docked manually. No AI help. No tech assist. Just him. He walked into the core. It was cold. Silent. Too perfect. The Prime spoke in thousands of voices like whispers, crawling into his brain. You cannot win. You are one. We are infinite. You're wrong, Eli said. Then what are you? The Prime asked. He looked around at the endless silver halls. He thought of her. Of the girl in the sand. The girl who called him Hope. He clenched his fists. I'm the mistake you never planned for. He reached the heart room, a chamber of pure light, where all collector consciousness connected. At its center, a glowing tube, pulsing like a heartbeat. The source. The mind. The Prime. Eli reached into his suit, pulled out the final gift she left behind, a glowing orb, barely stable. This, he said, is what you fear. The orb was her essence. Compressed, alive, wild. A part of her still remained. And now, he was setting it free. You think one being can infect us? The Prime laughed. No, Eli said. But she's not alone. He pressed the orb to the core that exploded with light. Not fire. Not noise, but memory. Suddenly, the Prime began to see things. The sound of a baby's first cry. The feeling of falling in love. The pain of loss. The fire of resistance. And one stubborn human, helping a dying girl in a desert. The Prime screamed, not because it was dying, but because it was feeling. *. Eli fell to his knees. The chamber, shook. The collector ship began to collapse. He looked up one last time. You lose. Because we feel what you never will. The Prime's last words were not in a voice. They were in fear. The ship broke. A part above Earth. No debris. Just light. Billions of stars, freed from a prison of code. Back on Earth, the people saw the lights in the sky. They didn't know what it meant, but somewhere in their hearts, they understood. Someone had finished the fight. At the ruins of Base Omega, a small beacon glowed. A message. Eli's voice. If you're hearing this, I'm not coming back, but that's okay. Because we made them feel, and that means they can change. So don't stop fighting. Don't stop choosing. And if something else ever falls from the sky, maybe catch it before it hits the sand. Epilogue. Years later, kids played near the crash site of the old collector pod. They told stories of the man who saved the world with junk and heart. And sometimes, late at night, they said the stars whispered a name. Eli.